Stop everything right now. Before you ignore that ugly old wheat penny in your pocket change, you need to hear this. Many people think worn out, scratched, or dark pennies are worthless. But behind closed doors, collectors are quietly fighting to buy certain wheat pennies, even when they look absolutely terrible. Some of these coins have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars simply because they are rare. Most people only focus on shiny coins, but serious collectors know that rarity is far more important than beauty. A wheat penny that looks ugly, heavily worn, or almost smooth can still be extremely valuable if it is scarce. Many of these coins survive decades of circulation, passing through thousands of hands, which is why finding one today can be very exciting for collectors. Sometimes the value comes from unusual mint mistakes. During production, a coin can be struck with strange doubling, misalignment, or other errors. Even if the coin looks damaged or ugly, those minting mistakes can make collectors pay serious money. In fact, some of the most famous valuable pennies discovered by collectors were coins that people almost threw away. Another reason collectors chase ugly wheat pennies is simple supply and demand. Over the years, millions of these coins were lost, melted, or destroyed. That means some surviving examples are incredibly hard to find today. Even a coin that looks worn out may be the exact piece someone needs to stop everything right now and check every penny you have. Because one small 1942 wheat penny could secretly be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more to collectors. Most people ignore old pennies and spend them without thinking. But coin collectors know that some of these tiny copper coins hold surprising value, and the 1942 Lincoln wheat penny is one of the coins people search for the most. The 1942 wheat penny was produced during one of the most important periods in American history. The United States had just entered World War II, and metal resources were becoming extremely important for the war effort. Copper was needed for ammunition, wiring, and military equipment. Because of this, the U.S. Mint would eventually stop using copper for pennies in 1943 and switch to steel cents. That means the 1942 wheat penny represents the final year before the famous wartime change to steel coins. When you hold a 1942 wheat penny, you are holding a piece of history from the early days of World War II. The design features President Abraham Lincoln on the front of the coin. This portrait was created by Victor David Brenner and first appeared in 1909 to celebrate Lincoln's 100th birthday. Above Lincoln's head, you will see the motto, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word liberty, and the date 1942 appears on the right side. If you flip the coin over, you will see the famous wheat reverse design. Two wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. At the top is the phrase E pluribus unum. This iconic reverse design remained in use from 1909 until 1958, before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. The 1942 wheat penny was minted in 3 different locations. Philadelphia produced coins without a mint mark. The Denver Mint produced coins with a small D mint mark below the date. And the San Francisco Mint struck coins with an S mint mark. Each mint produced millions of pennies that year, but not all coins were created equal. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 650 million pennies in 1942. Denver produced more than 200 million coins, and San Francisco produced around 85 million. At first glance, those numbers may sound huge, but collectors know that the true value of a coin depends on condition, rarity, and unique characteristics. Most circulated 1942 wheat pennies today are worth only a few cents to collectors. However, coins in excellent condition can be worth significantly more. If a coin still has its original mint luster and sharp details, collectors consider it uncirculated. These coins often sell for several dollars, or even higher depending on the grade. Copper coins like the wheat penny change color over time. Collectors classify them into 3 color categories: brown, red-brown, and red. Brown coins have dark surfaces caused by oxidation. Red-brown coins show a mix of original copper color and darker tones. But the most valuable coins are those classified as red, meaning they still display their original bright copper color from the mint. A 1942 wheat penny graded in high mint state condition with full red color can sell for dozens or even hundreds of dollars. Collectors pay premium prices for coins with strong eye appeal, minimal contact marks, and brilliant surfaces. But the real excitement around the 1942 wheat penny comes from rare mint errors and varieties. These unusual mistakes occurred during the coin production process and can transform a simple penny into an extremely valuable collectible. One of the most famous varieties from this year is the 1942 double die error. A double die occurs when the design of the coin is accidentally impressed twice on the die during its creation. This causes letters and numbers on the finished coin to appear doubled or blurred. Collectors search carefully for doubling on the words Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. If strong doubling is visible, the coin could be worth significantly more than a normal penny. Another interesting feature collectors look for is repunched mint marks. In earlier decades, mint marks were punched into the coin dies by hand. Sometimes the mint mark was punched more than once, leaving visible, overlapping impressions. A repunched mint mark can make a coin more desirable to collectors. Off-center strikes are another dramatic error. These occur when the blank coin is not properly aligned during the striking process. The result is a coin where part of the design is missing and a blank curved area appears on the edge. Depending on how off-center the strike is, these coins can sell for tens or hundreds of dollars. Clipped planchet errors are also highly collectible. These happen when the metal sheet used to create coin blanks is cut incorrectly. A clipped coin will have a curved or straight section missing from the edge. These unusual shapes make the coin instantly recognizable and appealing to collectors. Die cracks and cuds are also common mint errors collectors enjoy finding. As the dies used to strike coins wear down from heavy use, they sometimes develop cracks. These cracks transfer to the coin as raised lines or blobs of metal. Some collectors specialize in tracking these die varieties. One of the biggest factors affecting value is the condition of the coin. Even a common 1942 wheat penny can become valuable if it survives in exceptional condition. Coins graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading companies can bring impressive prices in the collector market. Professional grading companies evaluate coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of 70 represents a perfect coin with no visible flaws under magnification. While most wheat pennies never reach such a high grade, coins graded in the mid to high mint state range are highly desirable. Many collectors today search through old penny rolls, hoping to discover hidden treasures. Some buy large quantities of coins from banks and examine each one carefully under magnification. Others search through inherited coin collections passed down from family members. Surprisingly, valuable wheat pennies are still occasionally discovered in circulation. Old jars of coins, estate sales, flea markets, and antique stores are common places where collectors make exciting finds. The 1942 wheat penny is especially interesting because it sits right before the dramatic change to steel cents in 1943. The following year, the U.S. Mint experimented with zinc-coated steel pennies to save copper for the war effort. Those steel coins looked completely different from the traditional copper pennies and were only produced for 1 year. Because of this historical transition, many collectors enjoy collecting coins from the early 1940s. The 1942 penny represents the last normal copper cent before that unusual wartime experiment. Even though millions of these coins were produced, high-quality examples become harder to find every year. Many were heavily circulated, damaged, or lost over the decades. Coins that were carefully stored in albums or rolls sometimes remain in stunning condition today. If you ever find a 1942 wheat penny, take a moment to inspect it carefully. Look at the color of the coin. Check whether the surfaces appear brown, red-brown, or bright red. Examine Lincoln's hair and facial details to see if they remain sharp or worn. Next, check the mint mark below the date. A small D means the coin was minted in Denver, while an S indicates San Francisco. Coins without a mint mark were produced in Philadelphia. Then examine the lettering for signs of doubling. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loop if possible. Stop everything right now and take a closer look at the pennies hiding in your coin jar, because a simple 1944 wheat penny could secretly be worth far more than 1 cent. Most people ignore old pennies and spend them without thinking, but coin collectors know that certain wheat pennies can carry surprising value. And the 1944 wheat penny is one of the most fascinating coins from the entire Lincoln Cent series. The story of the 1944 wheat penny begins during one of the most intense periods in world history. The United States was in the middle of World War II, and the demand for strategic metals was extremely high. In 1943, the U.S. Mint made a dramatic change by producing pennies from zinc-coated steel instead of copper, so that copper could be used for military equipment and ammunition. Those 1943 steel cents looked completely different from traditional pennies. They had a silver-gray color and were easily mistaken for dimes. But the steel coins caused problems. They rusted easily, and many people disliked their appearance. Because of this, the U.S. Mint decided to return to copper pennies in 1944. However, instead of using newly mined copper, the Mint used recycled brass from spent wartime shell casings. That means the 1944 wheat penny was literally made from recycled military ammunition. Every coin struck that year carries a direct connection to World War II, making it one of the most historically interesting pennies ever produced. The design of the coin remained the classic Lincoln wheat design that had been used since 1909. On the front of the coin, you see the right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Above his head is the motto, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word liberty, and the date 1944 appears on the right side. On the reverse side of the coin are the famous wheat stalks that frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. At the top of the reverse, you will see the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This design remained on the penny until 1958, before it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. The 1944 wheat penny was produced in 3 different mints. The Philadelphia Mint struck coins without a mint mark. The Denver Mint produced coins with a small D mint mark below the date. And the San Francisco Mint produced coins marked with an S. Philadelphia produced over 1.4 billion pennies in 1944, making it one of the highest mintage Lincoln cents ever created. Denver struck around 430 million, and San Francisco produced about 280 million coins. With such large numbers, many people assume these pennies are common and worthless, but that is not always the case. While many circulated examples are only worth a few cents today, coins in higher grades can be much more valuable. Condition plays an enormous role in determining a coin's value. A coin that spent decades in circulation will show where on Lincoln's cheek, jawline, and hair. The wheat stalks on the reverse may appear flattened or weak. But if a coin somehow avoided circulation and remained in mint condition, it can be worth significantly more. Uncirculated coins retain their original mint luster, a bright reflective shine that moves across the surface when tilted under light. Another important factor is the color of the copper. Collectors classify copper coins into 3 color categories: brown, red-brown, and red. Brown coins have darker surfaces due to oxidation over time. Red-brown coins show a mixture of original copper color and darker toning. Fully red coins are the most valuable because they retain the bright orange-red color they had when leaving the mint. A 1944 wheat penny in average circulated condition may only be worth a few cents, but a high-grade mint state coin with full red color can sell for dozens or even hundreds of dollars. Some superb examples graded at the highest levels by professional grading companies have sold for even more at auction. However, the real reason collectors are obsessed with the 1944 wheat penny is because of one of the most famous mint errors in American coin history, the 1944 steel wheat penny. Remember how the mint produced steel pennies in 1943? When the mint switched back to copper in 1944, a few leftover steel planchets from 1943 accidentally remained in the coin presses. These steel blanks were struck with the 1944 design, creating one of the rarest Lincoln cent errors ever discovered. Unlike the normal copper 1944 penny, These rare error coins are made of steel and appear silver in color. Only a small number of authentic examples are known to exist. Because of their extreme rarity, collectors consider them one of the ultimate treasures in coin collecting. One genuine 1944 steel wheat penny has sold for over $100,000 at auction. That means a 1-cent coin could be worth more than a luxury car simply because of a minting mistake. This is why collectors carefully examine every 1944 penny they find. A simple test with a magnet can provide a quick clue. Normal copper pennies are not magnetic, but a steel penny will stick to a magnet. Of course, counterfeit coins exist, so professional authentication is always required for valuable discoveries. In addition to the steel error, collectors also search for other mint mistakes. These include double dies, repunched mint marks, die cracks, off-center strikes, and clipped planchets. A double die occurs when the design is accidentally imprinted twice during the die-making process. This results in visible doubling on letters or numbers. Collectors examine the words "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date for signs of doubling. Repunched mint marks can occur because mint marks were punched into dies by hand during that era. If the mint mark was punched more than once, you may see overlapping impressions. These varieties can be collectible depending on their strength and rarity. Off-center strikes occur when the blank coin is not perfectly aligned in the press. This causes part of the design to be missing, leaving a blank curved section on the coin. Dramatic off-center errors are extremely popular among collectors. Clipped planchets happen when the metal strip used to create coin blanks is miscut. This leaves a curved, missing piece along the edge of the coin. These unusual shapes make the coin stand out immediately. Another interesting feature collectors watch for is die cracks. As the steel dies used to strike coins wear out from pressure, they sometimes develop cracks. These cracks appear as raised lines on the finished coin and can add collectible value depending on their size and placement. Many collectors today search through bankrolls, coin jars, and old family collections, hoping to discover valuable wheat pennies. The excitement comes from the possibility that a coin sitting unnoticed for decades could suddenly reveal hidden value. The 1944 wheat penny is especially popular because it connects directly to the story of World War II. Knowing that these coins were struck using recycled brass shell casings makes them unique historical artifacts. Even though billions were produced, high-grade examples are becoming harder to find as time passes. Many were heavily circulated, damaged, or lost. Coins that survived in excellent condition are increasingly prized by collectors. If you ever find a 1944 wheat penny, take a moment to examine it carefully. Look at the color, the details of Lincoln's portrait, and the sharpness of the wheat stalks on the reverse. Check the mint mark below the date to see whether it came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Stop everything right now and check every penny you have, because a simple 1946 D-wheat penny could secretly be worth far more than 1 cent. Millions of people spend old pennies every day without realizing that some of them are highly collectible. But coin collectors know that certain wheat pennies, especially those from the mid-1940s, can hold surprising value depending on their condition, rarity, and possible mint errors. The 1946 D-wheat penny was produced just after the end of World War II, a time when the United States was transitioning from wartime production back to a peacetime economy. During the war, metal resources were heavily controlled, and the U.S. Mint even produced steel pennies in 1943 to save copper for the war effort. By 1946, normal copper-based pennies had returned to production, and the Denver Mint began striking large numbers of these coins for circulation across the country. When you hold a 1946 D-wheat penny, you're holding a small piece of post-war American history. On the front of the coin is the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design first appeared in 1909 to celebrate Lincoln's 100th birthday and became the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Above Lincoln's head, you will see the words, "In God We Trust." To the left of Lincoln is the word "Liberty," And on the right side is the date 1946, along with a small D mint mark, indicating the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Turn the coin over and you will see the famous wheat reverse design, which collectors often call the wheat cent. Two wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. At the top of the coin is the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This design remained on the penny until 1958, before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The Denver Mint produced more than 315 million 1946 D wheat pennies. While that might sound like a huge number, many of these coins circulated heavily for decades. Over time, where scratches and environmental damage reduced the number of high-quality coins that still exist today. That's why collectors pay special attention to well-preserved examples. Condition is one of the most important factors in determining the value of any wheat penny. Coins that circulated for many years often show flattening on Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline. The wheat stalks on the reverse also lose their sharp lines after long periods of circulation. These heavily circulated coins are usually worth only a few cents above face value. However, coins that survived in uncirculated condition can be significantly more valuable. Uncirculated coins were never used in daily transactions and still display their original mint luster, a soft, glowing shine that moves across the surface when the coin is tilted under light. Another important factor is the color of the copper. Wheat pennies were made primarily of copper, which changes color over time. Collectors classify these coins into three main categories: brown, red-brown, and red. Brown coins have dark surfaces caused by oxidation and age. Red-brown coins show a mixture of original copper color and darker toning. But the most valuable coins are classified as red, meaning they still retain the bright orange-red color they had when leaving the mint. A typical circulated 1946 D wheat penny may only be worth a few cents, but a high-grade uncirculated example with full red color can sell for tens or even hundreds of dollars, especially if it has strong strike details and minimal contact marks. But collectors aren't just looking for beautiful coins. They are also searching for mint errors, which are mistakes that occurred during the coin production process. These unusual errors can turn an ordinary penny into a valuable collectible. One type of error collectors search for is the double die. This occurs when the design on the coin die is accidentally impressed twice at slightly different angles. The result is visible doubling on letters or numbers. On a wheat penny, collectors often inspect the words "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date to see if any doubling appears. Another interesting variety is the repunched mint mark. In the 1940s, mint marks were punched into coin dies by hand. Sometimes the mint mark was punched more than once, leaving overlapping impressions. If you see a second outline around the D mint mark, it could indicate a repunched mint mark variety that collectors find interesting. Collectors also search for off-center strikes. These happen when the blank coin is not perfectly aligned inside the coin press during striking. As a result, the design appears shifted to one side and part of the coin may be blank. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin can become. Another fascinating error is the clipped planchet. This happens when the metal sheet used to create coin blanks is cut incorrectly, leaving a curved piece missing from the edge of the coin. These coins have a distinctive shape and are immediately recognizable. Die cracks are also common on older coins. Over time, the steel dies used to strike coins develop cracks due to the pressure of repeated strikes. These cracks appear on the coin as raised lines or ridges. Some collectors actually enjoy finding and cataloging these die varieties. If you ever find a 1946 D wheat penny, take a moment to examine it carefully. Look closely at Lincoln's portrait and the details of the wheat stalks. Check the color of the coin and see whether it still has any original mint luster. Next, inspect the mint mark below the date. Make sure it is clearly visible and look for any unusual shapes that might indicate a repunched mint mark. Then check the lettering and numbers carefully to see if any doubling appears. Using a small magnifying glass or coin loop can make this process much easier. Many collectors use magnification to study coins in detail and identify rare varieties. One very important rule in coin collecting is never clean your coins. Cleaning may seem like it improves the coin's appearance, but it actually damages the surface and reduces its value significantly. Collectors prefer coins with natural surfaces and original patina. The excitement of coin collecting comes from the possibility that even a small coin could hold hidden value. Every wheat penny carries decades of history and tells a story about the time period in which it circulated. The 1946 Wheat penny is especially interesting because it represents the beginning of the post-war era in American coinage. These pennies circulated during a time when the United States was rebuilding after the war and entering a period of economic growth. Millions of these coins passed through the hands of Americans buying groceries, paying for transportation, and conducting everyday transactions. Today, many of those coins are gone, but some still survive in old jars, collections, and forgotten coin rolls. That is why collectors continue searching through pennies hoping to uncover a hidden gem. The next valuable wheat penny discovery could be sitting unnoticed in someone's pocket change right now. So, before you spend your next penny, check the date carefully. That small copper coin marked 1946, might not just be spare change. It could be a collectible piece of American history, and possibly a coin worth far more than its tiny 1-cent face value.